Hey, remember when you thought he was the one? Sorry.
Hello guys, and welcome back to our channel. I will come here to today's video where we are going to take a look into the trending phenomenon of the Leaving MAGA movement. Now, I must say that it's been fascinating to see numerous videos surface of former MAGA voters expressing regret over their decision to support Trump. Many of these individuals were drawn to Trump's promise of lowering grocery prices, but now they're realizing that was nothing more than an empty promise. The writing is on the wall. They are complaining of egg prices skyrocketing and Trump's response to the bird flu, which has been underwhelming, to say the least. Instead of addressing the issue at hand, he's been busy stripping away people's rights and freedoms. The consequences of his actions are now hitting close to home for many of his former supporters who can no longer access Medicaid or benefit from FEMA. Now, as the reality of Trump's policies sets in, we are seeing a shift in attitudes towards the MAGA movement. Some are even taking down their Trump signs, a clear indication that the tide is turning. Now, in this video, we'll explore the reasons behind this mass exodus from the MAGA movement. So with that said, let's take a look at these videos. I will be right back.
Man, I can't believe I have to say this, but I'm no longer rocking with Trump. Dude, I was the first Gen Zer to support Trump. I definitely preferred him in 2016 and to some degree 2020. I was with Trump for 9 straight years, 2016 to today. I didn't vote for him in 2024, actually, thank God. But what happened between me and the employee who told me about the new policy change for giving free water, man, I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed in Trump right now. We would have been way better off with JD Vance or Butch Ware or Candace Owens, but we got Trump, and we know Trump for who he is. He's a corporate shill. He's imposed tariffs. That's not a conservative move. That's not even a nationalist or imperialist move. That's worse than imperialist. It's a feudalist neocon move. And Trump, I hope you know better. I should have boycotted Starbucks in October of 2023, but I didn't because I was sick as hell. Today, I'm going to sell my Trump stock, and I'm also going to be boycotting Starbucks moving forward.
Yeah, we voted for Trump because he promised while he was campaigning like a million times that when he got into office, he was going to bring down prices, bring down grocery prices. The inflation has been high ever since COVID, and he promised he would bring that down. But it's obvious to me now that that was not true. Egg prices have skyrocketed. The bird flu is in all the birds, and he doesn't seem to be doing anything about that. He's stopping disease communications from the disease centers in America, pulled us out of the WHO. Like, how does that help anything? And yeah, all he's been doing is taking away rights and freedoms, or trying to. He's not doing anything about the economy. So yeah, we totally regret our vote at this point. We've had a really tough time here in North Carolina. Half of my house got washed away in Hurricane Helene, and I applied for FEMA assistance and we got approved. But now Trump is canceling FEMA and emergency assistance to people. He's also canceled Medicaid for my children. I know they said they put a halt on his freezing of the funds, but the Medicaid portal is still not working, so we can't access anything for our children's health insurance.
Like, I'm in the South, all right? So they're kind of a dime a dozen. This is what this house looked like during election week. Every single day, there was a new Trump contraption in this person's yard. And you know what I see in their yard this week? Metal tulips. All the Trump signs are down. I just did a loop. Didn't see a single one. I'm just saying.
Like you, I'm sure you've been seeing videos of people saying, oh snap, now that Trump's in, I didn't really realize he was going to do all of these things. He's not caring about the bird flu and making the price of eggs lower. He's doing things that are affecting me. I can no longer access my Medicaid, even though that wasn't supposed to happen. I'm still having trouble, accessing my child's account, or, FEMA's being taken away. And I was supposed to be a recipient of some FEMA help. That one particular lady goes on about the things. But I've seen other videos where people are saying specifically, this is really bad, and I regret my vote. It's easy for us who saw this coming 500 miles away to feel satisfaction, to want to gloat in the face of that. But here's the thing, we're all here. And the more we hear these people speak out, the more people we have fighting for us. And I want their fight. I'm not about, well, you voted for him, you don't have the right to fight against him now. Listen, we need all the help we can get. So if these people are seeing the light now, and if they're saying, no, I'm going to fight with you against all this stuff, yes, please. Yes, please, because we need all the help we can get. So gloat with your friends. Feel that little bit of satisfaction of I told you so. But we need to encourage these people. Thank you for having the courage to speak out now. It is too late, but now that you're here, keep speaking out, and please join us in the fight. That's the only way we're going to get through this, because we have to continue to welcome the people who are going to be suffering along with us over to the side of the fight if we're going to win the fight.
Hey y'all, so I've been seeing it float around that there are some MAGAs who actually do regret voting the way that they did. And what I have to say about that is good. Because honestly, the more you regret the thing that you've done, the more uncomfortable it is for you to sit with it, the more likely you are to remember this for next time. Maybe you're finally going to admit to yourself, I was wrong. Maybe you're finally going to admit to yourself, other people were right. Maybe you're going to admit to yourself, I made a huge mistake. I never should have done that. Maybe you will finally admit to yourself, I got taken in. I fell for a con. Maybe also you will admit to yourself that you don't care about anyone or anything unless it directly involves you. Maybe you'll finally admit that all of the people who were fighting for the cushy life that you had been living are the exact people whose lives you voted against. Maybe you'll finally realize how complacent you'd become. And maybe you'll finally realize, yeah, you know what? I actually was / Maybe you'll finally admit that you had been living with bigotry and up until that point, or maybe even now still. And maybe you're going to finally realize that what we're all facing now, you included, is not how we want to live. So yes, good. Regret it. Be uncomfortable. Sit with that, because nobody's going to have any sympathy for you. You're going to sit with that all alone, and you're going to have to face some hard truths. And I really, really hope that this experience changes you for the better. Because honestly, if it doesn't, then you kind of truly are a lost cause. Meanwhile, everybody else, what do we get to say? I told you so.
I don't think most Americans realize that when the evangelical MAGAs are calling out the sin of empathy, that it's an internal dog whistle to MAGA and MAHA moms to make sure they hold the line. I'm Tia Levings, and I wrote A Well-Trained Wife, My Escape from Christian Patriarchy. I often say that the patriarchy used what we wanted for ourselves against us. And I think about this as I watch MAGA turn mothers against vulnerable children. MAGA is a cult, and it's not unusual for mothers to leave cults when they realize their children are in harm's way. But the patriarchy always doubles down on women to maintain control and convince them that their strengths are actually a sin. Their voice and vote, their fierce protective instincts. Keeping women in line is one hand, getting women to work the line is the other. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. And right now, MAGA and MAHA moms might be moved with empathy for the plight of children. I empathize with those moms because I know that they're being shamed and silenced into inaction. I read their posts and I see that even though they're very cavalier about the risks of their choice, they're afraid, and they constantly work overtime to convince themselves not to be afraid. Meanwhile, the patriarchy doubles down on their message to moms. They really can't afford for all these mothers to feel empathetic, change their minds, and go after the actual oppressors. Can you imagine what an uprising that would be?
Oh my God, they know. And they know they can't stop it. I've known this was coming for 10 years, but until now I didn't realize there was a name for it. It's the thing that makes us say, is it just me, or are there more crazies than ever before? The Trump spike in racism and hate, it's the emotional foundation for the entire Make America Great Again movement. That nostalgia for when life in America was simpler and paler. But as soon as we began addressing it, boom. Extinction burst. This term is why I love science so much. You can take an idea from one field, like psychology, for example, and apply it to another field, like political science, and the principles still apply. Extinction burst is actually really simple. It's when you have a behavior and a reward, and you withdraw the reward in order to change the behavior. When you do that, usually to change an undesirable behavior, the behavior itself increases in frequency and intensity for a short period of time, till ultimately the subject changes the behavior, and then that behavior goes extinct. This is like you're at the store and you're swiping your credit card and it doesn't work, and so then you swipe your credit card like 15 more times until you're so angry you're freaking out and you're about to scream an F in the middle of Toys R Us, and then you say, I'll just pay with cash. The swiping is the behavior and the payment is the reward. So when the swiping doesn't work and you don't get the reward you need, you get madder and madder and you try it more and more until you change the behavior, which then results in the extinction of the original behavior. Now, extinction burst at the national level is much slower, but in this case, we actually know very clearly what triggered it. It was Obama's election in 2008. Sarah Palin, the Tea Party movement, the birther movement, and ultimately MAGA. It is a 10-year tsunami of rage in the face of inevitable extinction. This is why Republicans are still so angry. They know Trump winning can't stop it, and they know Trump in office can't stop it. They can feel the inevitable extinction of their own terrible beliefs. At this point, the only thing that'll stop it is if we let up. If you stop interfering with that undesirable behavior, it will go back to normal. So no, you're not crazy. Yes, you are doing the right thing, and yes, if you persevere, the extinction burst will end.
Hello there, ladies, gentlemen, and gentle them. I'm just coming up on here to just touch base with everybody, especially for the first week of the new administration. This is also kind of a confessional video of sorts, because I'm former MAGA. I voted for Trump 2016 and 2020. I felt the whole outrage when he didn't win the second time around. But when it comes to deconstructing my Christian faith and my evangelicalism and everything like that, of course, I did not expect my political views to start rolling along with it. And so I did vote, for Harris this time. I've seen the light, and I got out of MAGA. So I just wanted you to know that if you ever wonder what it feels like for some of us former MAGAs, I can't speak for all of us, but sometimes I do struggle with guilt over doing what I did. It's just, I hate myself for this. I hate myself for supporting this the first 2 times. I didn't the third. I'm glad I didn't. Sometimes I hate myself for voting against my interests and the interests of my neighbors. Even all these years, because I have been voting for a little over 30 years. And if you ever come across somebody who is former MAGA, just have some grace for us, please. We struggle with far more than you realize. I can't even put half of it into words. But just want to let you know that a lot of us there have seen the light. We have deep regrets, and it's something that I'm going to have to live with for the rest of my life. I just thank you all for letting me be this transparent, because for the longest time I didn't want to just say it out loud, but I just want you all to know I'm sorry. I'm sorry for giving him those chances. I'm sorry. I see things now. I see them clearly. And I think I saw them way too late. But just in time at the same time. So if you ever come across people like me, go easy on us. Just go easy on us. Just treat us with the compassion that we are finally learning about in our lives. I'm so sorry. I don't know what I was thinking, and maybe I wasn't, but I know better now. And because I know better, I can do better. But I just wanted to let you all know we struggle so much in some deep levels with the choices we made in the past 2 elections, not this one. I miss Biden already. I miss sanity already. And it hasn't even been a week into this administration. I even now appreciate Barack Obama. But I just wanted to be able to come here and just be honest. Like I said, if you know people who are former MAGA, people who got out, just take it easy on us, please. We deal with enough already.
Now, we obviously can't forget that Republicans came out in droves to vote for Donald Trump in the presidential election. But those same MAGA devotees are regretting their vote now, that it's clear that the president-elect doesn't care about them. Now, while the rest of us are balls of anxiety as we stare down the barrel of another 4 years with Trump as president, you'd think Trump supporters would be partying in the streets, but many have taken to X, formerly Twitter, and TikTok to voice their distress that they voted in a politician who has managed to go against his campaign promises before he even stepped foot in the White House. Now, we've seen MAGA supporters coming out of the woodwork to lament that the Leopards Eating First party is in the process of eating their faces. After the election, people voiced their frustration over grocery prices not changing like Trump said they would, and farmers worried about what would happen to their businesses if he deported all of the undocumented immigrants, while Cure MAGA voters feared for their futures. But now, there seem to be 3 main bones of contention that are making formerly Trump-loving Republicans regret their vote and do so publicly on X. First, people who thought Trump was planning to kick immigrants out of the country so that Americans would have more job opportunities, which is flawed logic to start with, are angry that he now seems to be supporting H-1B visas that is supposed to bring skilled labor into the US. And they may have cheered Tesla mogul Elon Musk on when he was awkwardly jumping at Trump rallies, but now conservatives are angry the tech billionaire seems to have Trump's ear and is acting like a shadow government. They also blame Musk for Trump's stance on H-1B visas since he's been vocal about how necessary the immigration tool is for his businesses. Imagine that, a billionaire Republican who spends more time on the golf course he owns than working isn't a man of the people and instead wants to do what's best for his ultra-wealthy friends. Lastly, it seems like they're angry that Trump publicly endorsed Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House, considering his handling of an aid bill to Ukraine last spring and compromising with Democrats to pass short-term spending bill. This is the find out portion of F around and find out. And people just can't help but want to laugh and also scream into the void in frustration. Now, since President Donald Trump was inaugurated, he's already begun implementing his mass deportation plan, removed HIV resources from federal websites, ended efforts to lower prescription drug costs, signed an executive order stating that the federal agencies will recognize only 2 sexes, male and female, and he hasn't lowered the price of eggs. Now his D-hard MAGA supporters are starting to regret their devotion to a politician who they're realizing doesn't have their best interests at heart. As the internet would say, this is what happens when you F around and find out. Now, between Black MAGA supporters realizing their parties actually are to the cyst, G-Trump voters being disappointed when the queer community wants nothing to do with them, and people waking up to the fact that their lives are going to be materially worse under a Trump presidency, they are only now becoming aware of the giant mistake they made. Now, Trump supporters are not only starting to voice their disappointment on social media, but are realizing there are real consequences for their votes. One woman lost her job after posting a TikTok video doing the end salute. A man boasted that he bought a new sports car with his Trump-loving daughter's inheritance. A Trump voter's undocumented husband got deported, and a teacher who invited ICE to raid his school is being investigated by the school district. Now, a TikToker who voted for Trump was devastated to learn that he's going through with his promise to have immigration and customs enforcement, ICE, start rounding up and mass deporting immigrants because now people she knows are afraid to go to work. I hate that I voted for him, she laments. Now, Laura Smith, a Pennsylvania MAGA supporter, had to resign from her positions on the Montgomery County Board of Supervisors and the Montgomery County Public Library after coming under fire for posting a TikTok video doing the end salute after Elon Musk made the same gesture at the inauguration. Indiana resident Helen Berriston voted for Trump and was convinced that he would split up families with his mass deportation plan. Was shocked when her husband was deported and sent back to Mexico. Now, Rep. Maria, a vocal Trump ally who represents a majority Hispanic Florida district, sent a letter to Homeland Security requesting they exempt people from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela from Trump's mass deportation plans and ICE raids because they were allowed to enter the U.S. by President Joe Biden's administration under a humanitarian parole program. I no longer trust Donald Trump nor anyone surrounding him. He's a one-termer and he's going to do what he wants, not what MAGA demands. MAGA is unalived. You just don't know it yet. Stop genuflecting, a Trump voter wrote on X after the election. Now, Donald Trump is now reposting Elon Musk's pro-immigration sentiments. So we're talking about more immigrants before mass deportations even start. This is not what we voted for. A Trump supporter wrote on X after becoming angry that Trump was supporting H-1B visas after Musk expressed his love of them. After feeling like her X account was being unfairly targeted after she was critical of Musk, far-right Trump supporter Laura Loomer was angry that some of the biggest accounts who helped get Trump elected have now been demonetized and unverified. You know, it's quite ironic that MAGA supporters are only now realizing the consequences of their actions. Many are expressing regret over their votes, but it's too little too late. They wanted this, so they have to live with it. Take, for instance, the MAGA farmers who are complaining about Trump's tariffs, hating their profits. Some are even discovering that China doesn't pay the tariffs they do. Others, like the mom who voted red because she needs access to IVF, are finding out that Senate Republicans have blocked Democratic bills for a nationwide right to IVF treatments. The list goes on, with people realizing that Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act are the same thing and that Trump's policies are affecting them personally. It's almost as if they thought they were exempt from the consequences of their votes. But here we are. We have finally come to the end of the video, but what do our viewers have to say? Share your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you for watching and see you in our next video as we bring you another video.